Hello, everybody. So we got the final parts for the hearing aid devices. So you notice that there's now an antenna next to this unit. So that's what broadcasts out to the receivers out at the back of church. There's nothing in here that you do differently. You power on the system as you normally would, and it'll activate the hearing aid device. So let's go to the back real quick. So there's nothing that needs to be configured for each scene. What the hearing aid devices do is it takes the same sound that's going to the speakers up front and just pumps them down to these little receivers. So we have a couple different pieces here. These units are already powered on and they're just charging. So as soon as you pull it out, they're on, they're ready to go. So we can see that we have a little indicator that it's on. And we have two parts to it that people could use. So one is this loop with these two connectors on it, and one is this one with a headphone jack that goes to an earpiece. So if somebody, it's got a little belt clip, if somebody just wants to put it on their belt, they can just take these two pieces and plug it into either side. So there's two ports on the top. So plug it in. Sorry, hard to do this with one hand. Plug it in, and that's it. It is ready to go, and whatever you're hearing through the speakers up front, you're hearing here. If the person needs it louder, they can just hit the up arrow, and this one's at 30%, and it just gets louder and louder. So the other part, so there's four of these little microphones here, and there's two of these other cords. These other cords are kind of interesting. So you move everything out of the way so you can clearly see this. So you take that cord and you plug it in to both ends on here. I know that doesn't seem very intuitive, but let me do that real quick. Stand by. The video's still working. I just had to set the phone down. Ta-da, that's what it's gonna look like. So what that is, make sure they're plugged in real good. This is supposed to be like a lanyard that your head goes through here. So this thing just hangs from your neck. Then if you're going to use this piece, it plugs in up here on this part. So I don't know. I'm not sure who would really, want that hanging around their neck versus just sitting next to them or in their lap or something like that. But they may. So that's what the two pieces for. So any of these, as soon as you take them out, they turn themselves on. You can plug that in, and without doing anything, whatever scene you load, it will start hearing through here. And you can turn it up as loud as you want it to go, and it goes pretty loud. So I'm going to leave this here for you guys to test this Sunday, but all that's ready to go. Okay, so the next part is all the wires are gone. So they now run, let me get over here, underneath, over to that box over there, underneath the stage. And as you can see from here, the sub is put down there also. Everything's hooked up the normal, the way it used to be. The sub, I know Michael was having some troubles with it. So the volume in the mixer and the sub were all turned to max. So yeah, it was getting all sorts of humming and feedback. So maybe somebody who walked behind that kind of messed with it. But we've got this little volume down in here, which is this indicator, which is kind of mid-range right now. So it was cranked all the way to max. And so was it, so it was in the software as well over here. So, when you modify sound going to the sub, you go to the sub tab right here. And then these were all kind of maxed out, and so was the master control for it. So I brought it all down. You could play with it and bring it back up. The other thing that I did is really the only things that can take advantage of that sub are the bass guitar and the piano. So there's no sense on having everything else trying to pump sound to that sub. So I muted all of those. And I did those to all of the scenes as well. That way it just minimizes your chance to get feedback. Now, just keep in mind that this is only the sound that goes to the sub. So when we go back to our main channel up here, you know, the other things that have always been unmuted are still unmuted. So that just means that the sound is going to the front speakers. So the only two things that we have going to the sub is the bass guitar and the keyboard. And if you were to add something else later on, then we can obviously turn that on then. So that should solve a lot of the humming and the feedback, because I could hear it as soon as I turned it on. I don't think it really made a difference on where that sub went. It could have sat underneath the table or underneath the piano, but you got all sorts of space now. So that's kind of a bonus. If you really want to, we can move it back, but it fits underneath there just about perfect. You can see that we only have a inch clearance and then maybe an inch clearance on each side. So that might be a better spot for it anyway, just kind of down there out of the way, and hopefully that works for you. So I think we're good. I think that's all the pieces. So give that hearing aid device a try this weekend. Again, all you got to do is just plug that little earpiece in, and it's ready to go. All right, if you have questions, let me know. Thanks, bye.